Right, it is hopefully Tuesday if I can get this video turned around in time, and I am doing a tag, and today I am doing the ratings and reviews tag. I think that's what it's called. And this was created by the amazing Scott and Nell over at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. If you haven't seen their channel, you are missing out. They are fabulous booktubers. They talk about a wide variety of genres, and they are really sort of pushing the boundaries of the platform, in my opinion, and doing some really interesting things with their editing and their concepts. And and they did a whole video looking at where they got like guest booktubers in to talk about how they rate things. I will link that video below as well as the original tag video. But they are fabulous. Go and check them out. But I was tagged by Bob the Bookerer, who is also fabulous. If you haven't seen him, he reads a lot of books from the Booker Prize. Little clue in the channel name there. But Bob is really lovely, and he's just one of those people that you could sit and listen to for like ages, and the day just whiles away. So yeah, I also highly recommend you check his channel out. So without any further waffle and the like, let's get into the questions. So we're kicking this straight off with tagging people. So I have had a quick squiz at who hasn't done this. Hopefully it'll still be the same when this goes out, because it should be going out tomorrow. So I'm going to tag Paper Not Books, who I've literally just recently started talking to, and she's lovely, a fellow booktube prize judge, and she's got some great content on her channel, so I highly suggest you, I highly recommend that you check it out. I'm also gonna tag Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, who I think is fabulous. I talk to her all the time. And Nikki from Red Dog Reads, who is also lovely, and she lives over in Singapore and is a teacher, and she's just marvellous. So I'm going to tag you three. I don't think you've done it yet, so now you can. You could have done it before, obviously. You can do what you want, but now you've been officially tagged. So the next question is, got my handy piece of paper. How do you know you've just finished a good book? Is it a thinking or a feeling response? And for me, it's absolutely a feeling response, and the question is going to it later, but a great book is something that I will have an emotional response to. The kind of books that I tend to read, usually that's the sort of devastation at the loss of a key character or something along those lines. But yeah, an emotional reaction is what makes a book good for me. Okay, the next question. When you begin to form a review or a rating, what is the first question that you ask yourself? This is difficult. This suggests that I use more brain power than I actually do. Because I don't know, it depends on the book. The first question is probably, did I like it? And as I sort of said in the previous question, that will be an emotional response. It's a gut feel. It's a, yeah, this was good. And then I try and analyse it. And usually the first questions I ask myself, I suppose, are probably related to character. Why did I love this character? And then it sort of rolls from there, I suppose. But yeah, if I don't love the character, it's never going to be a 5-star. So next question, do you give star ratings? Yes, I do. So yeah, I just do 1 to 5. I have toyed with the idea of doing half stars, but if I'm honest, it's all subjective. It's all just a bit of a line in the sand on the day that you rate it. So I could rate something a 5-star today that maybe in 6 months' time I would rate 4 stars or 3 stars, depending on my mood. So it's all pretty subjective. So I just give it 5 stars, and it's very much a finger in the air job. Okay, explain your star rating system. So I did a little bit there. It's like, it feels like 4-star. But generally 5-star is excellent. I loved it. Highly recommend. Will recommend to pretty much anyone if they read that genre. So yeah, 5-star are my like favourite books. And then 4-star is really good. But I didn't quite have that emotional oof at the end. So yeah, I suppose I always give a star for my emotional response. So a book can be beautifully written, expert plot, expert characters, but if it doesn't get me in the feels, it's never going to make it to 5-star. And in the same way, it can be actually quite a poorly written book. It could be maybe a 2 or a 3-star book, and it gets elevated to a 3 or a 4-star book because I have an emotional connection to the characters, if that makes sense. So, but broadly, 5 is excellent, 4 is good, 3 is usually meh, 2 is I didn't like it, and I don't really give 1 star because I will DNF before I get to that stage. So, though I am judging the booktube prize this year, and you have to read the books even if you really, really hate them. So maybe we'll see some 1 stars this year. We'll see. Is your star rating consistent? Are all your 5-star books better than your 4-star books? So the question is your star rating system consistent? And no is the answer to that. No, it is not. I mean, usually within a given year it's pretty consistent, but I think as you grow as a reader, and a person and an adult, you rate books differently. So something that I may have rated 5 stars 10 years ago may well not be a 5-star now, because I like different things and I am more mature as a reader. I've read more great literature, I've read more atrocious literature, and so yeah, so my star ratings as I progress as a reader will change. So something that, yeah, so no, they're not consistent, and as I said before, some of it will depend on my mood, and surely that must be true of everybody, because sometimes you pick up a book and it's just what you need, and you'll probably, well, I will rate it higher because of that, because I was just really in the mood for it, and sometimes you're just really not in the mood for a book, and so it will get a lower rating. But usually that would be the difference between a 4 and a 5-star. It'll be like a 1-star difference. I feel like I'm waffling now. Stop, Gemma. Next question, question 5. Do you believe every book has its perfect reader? Does this contradict the idea that a book can be bad? Yes. I think every book does have a reader within reason. But yeah, everybody's different demographics, different interests. You know, they could be like quite chunky history books that I know a lot of non-fiction readers would like, but that would be too much for me. YA books that I am rapidly going off, but when I was a young adult, I would have really enjoyed. Yeah. So before I waffle any further, the answer is yes, no. The answer is I don't think there's such a thing as a bad book. I think that is the joy of reading, that everybody likes different things, everybody gets different things out of reading, and actually that's what makes this community, this booktube community, so fantastic, is that everybody's different, but everyone respects other people's reading preferences, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my answer. Question 6. What book that you hated have you recommended? I haven't recommended any books I hate. If I hate it, I don't recommend it. There's books that I haven't loved that I've recommended. For example, Shadow and Bone, I recommended to, I actually bought it for my goddaughter, who is, how old is she now? 13? 14? And she really loved the Harry Potter series and was looking for something new to get into, and so I recommended her that, even though I personally did not like it. But I think the reason I didn't like it is because I've read that trope many times before, and I've read that trope done better, with better world building, better politics, which is something that you build on as a reader, particularly as a fantasy reader. You build up to these layers of complexity, and you know, going straight in with a Game of Thrones at the age of 13 is probably a bit excessive. So not that it can't be done, but you know, there's levels. What makes a book good, bad or great in my by my evaluation. I think I've sort of said this before, and I mentioned it, I suppose, a little bit in the philosophy of reading tag as well, and that is characters. Characters make a book good, bad, or excellent. And the plots, yes, I do need a level of plot, but it doesn't have to be particularly in your face. It doesn't have to be really great, but the characters make a book. And if I love the characters, I'm going to love the book. If I hate the characters, I'm going to hate the book. So, or if the characters are just, not even if I hate them. If I hate them, then I have feelings for them. And that's good. But if they're just rubbish, two-dimensional, stereotypical, all the same, then yeah, that book ain't getting a good rating. Oh, this question's a longie. When evaluating the quality of a book, do you have specific criteria or aspects of the book, such as character development, that you consider? Does this change if you're writing an in-depth review versus just thinking about the book for enjoyment? So I would say I think a lot more about how I review a book now that I have a booktube channel, as opposed to before. But I try not to overanalyze it. I try to go with my guts. It's difficult to explain, really. I intuitively know if I like something or if I don't like something, and then I suppose I have to interrogate that afterwards. I try not to interrogate it during the reading, because I find that just hampers my reading process. So I sort of interrogate afterwards a little bit. Though that said, I've been really enjoying doing like buddy reads and group reads lately, where you can interrogate the plot as you go and the characters as you go with a group of people, and I've actually really been enjoying that. So maybe what I just said isn't true. But I suppose I'm changing as a reader and as a reviewer through the process of having a booktube channel. So yeah, I mean, as I've said about 5 times during this thing, character is everything for me. So that will probably be the main criteria, and then is there a good plot and what's the writing like. Anyway, I think I've answered the question. If not, talk to me in the comments. Chapter 9, question 9. Do you consider star ratings or average ratings when choosing books to read or add to your TBR? No, not really. I mean, my TBR is plenty big enough as it is. I don't really need to be adding to it, but I do on a regular basis, and that is based off of booktube reviews. 95% of that is based off booktube reviews. So there are, and there's a question coming in a minute, but there are a variety of booktubers that read similarly to me, and whose opinions I trust and who review well, and quite often I will add books to my TBR if they've enjoyed them. Generally, if they've rated lower than a 4-star, then they haven't enjoyed it that much. It's just like, yeah, it's fine. So those books don't tend to go on the TBR, I suppose. But yeah, I haven't really answered the question, but from booktube reviews I will add to my TBR, but I'm not overly worried about what star rating they got. And I certainly wouldn't discard a book based off of the Goodreads average rating. So, okay, question 10. Who on booktube does reliable and interesting reviews of books that you know you can use to decide if a book is for you or not? What makes their review so good? Okay, so there are so many. I am going to go through a few. Apologies if I missed you out, because there are so many amazing booktubers on here, but there are a few that I just sort of wanted to highlight. So firstly, Fraser Simons over at Fraser Simons Springboard Thought. Firstly, Fraser reads about 1 million books a day. So he does like these weekly wrap-ups where he has like 10-20 books that he wraps up a week. And he always has really thoughtful reviews, and he does do star ratings as well. And yeah, I have added quite a lot to my TBR because of Fraser. Also, Nikki over at Red Dot Reads, we could almost twin it with our with our TBRs, except she has thrillers and I have fantasy, but everything else is pretty much spot on. We like the same thing. It's very rare for Nikki to like a book that I haven't liked, and vice versa. So if she's talking about something other than a thriller that she's liked, then I'm pretty certain that I'd like it too. Thrillers just aren't my jam at the moment. I'm really not into them. But that's a side issue. It's fine. Of course, I can't not mention Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, the creators of this tag, who do fantastic reviews, really informative, and yeah, I just love their reviews in general. Go and check them out because, yeah, again, lots of books that they recommend go on my TBR. So I'm not going to gush about everybody. Oh, one that I just have to mention is Kieran at KD Books. He does hilarious reviews. If you haven't seen his review for Fuckboy that came out last week as this is being recorded, go and check that out because I was in stitches. But I love Kieran's reviews because they're really short. So yeah, he does single book reviews and he will just tell you, and it's all subjective feeling and emotion. Really, he'll give you a tiny bit about what it's about, and then the rest of it is like, I hated this because I wanted to like claw my eyeballs out or whatever. So yeah, Kieran at KD Books, brilliant reviews. But there are loads of people that cause me to add to my TBR. Larry Has Opinions, Bob the Bookerer, who tagged me in this, Harriet's Book Corner, Brandon's Bookshelf, Scally Dangling About the Books, Bridget Bowler, Allison's Giant Bookshelf. I could go on and on and on and on. Oh, Becky from Teacup the Storyteller always does really good reviews. So yeah, there are loads and loads. Okay, and last question. Does that or those booktubers use different language than you to review the overall quality of a book? Yes, they all do. They are all significantly more intelligent than me. I use words like amazeballs and, oh, wasn't that lovely? And, oh, that was really interesting. And if you check out Scott and Nell's video, interesting is a no-no. I've been trying not to say it since I watched that video, but I say I'm not. Fabulous. I use rubbish words. Everyone else uses really cool words when they review. I need to improve. Note to self, need to improve. But yeah, that's it. That's all the questions. So I feel like this has been a bit rambly, but hopefully you've enjoyed yourselves, and I will be back very soon with another video. If you like this, obviously please hit the like, subscribe, whatever else you can hit, and I will see you soon. Bye.